The obsidian dais hummed with barely suppressed energy, reflecting the spectral glow of 1,000 holographic projections that danced above the assembled Cathar conclave. Each projection displayed a different facet of the same unsettling phenomenon: humanity. Images flickered, orbital scans of Earth, snippets of intercepted transmissions, grainy footage of human cities teeming with unnervingly efficient activity. The air thrummed with the collective anxiety of the conclave, their multifaceted eyes shifting nervously, each reflecting a unique shade of fear and apprehension. The Grand Artificer, his chitinous carapace gleaming under the harsh light, tapped a delicate, multi-jointed appendage against the dais. The sound echoed through the chamber, silencing the simmering debate that had raged for cycles. "Enough," he intoned, his voice a complex resonance that vibrated the very bones of the chamber. "We have circled this anomaly long enough. The data is undeniable. Humanity has achieved faster-than-light travel. They have begun to expand beyond their solar system, and their technology defies all known principles of physics." A ripple of unease passed through the conclave. To even utter such a phrase was blasphemy in their rigidly structured scientific worldview. Yet the evidence, however inexplicable, was before them, undeniable in its frustrating simplicity. The strategos, his mandibles clicking softly in thought, spoke next. "Their military capabilities remain unclear. Scans reveal a relatively small fleet composed of vessels that, by our standards, are underdeveloped. Their energy weapons are primitive. Their shields are inefficient. Yet," he paused, his multifaceted eyes narrowing, "there is something unsettling about their tactical doctrines. They are unpredictable. They do not conform to established patterns of engagement. They seem to adapt." The Grand Diplomat, her slender, bioluminescent tendrils swaying gently, offered a contrasting perspective. "My analyses suggest that direct military confrontation would be ill-advised. Their cultural matrix is complex. They possess a remarkable capacity for empathy. I believe that a diplomatic approach, a carefully orchestrated exchange of information, may yield more fruitful results." A chorus of dissenting murmurs arose from the conclave. Empathy. A concept that was almost alien to the rigidly logical Cathar. To them, emotions were vulnerabilities, weaknesses to be exploited. The Grand Artificer silenced them again with a sharp gesture. "We must proceed with caution. We cannot afford to underestimate these humans. Their very existence challenges our understanding of the universe. We must determine their true intentions. We must ascertain the extent of their technological capabilities. And most importantly, we must decide whether they are a threat to the Cathar hegemony." The decision hung in the air, heavy with unspoken fears and uncertainties. The fate of the Cathar, perhaps even the galaxy, rested on the delicate balance of power in that obsidian chamber. The holographic projections continued to flicker, each image a silent question mark, a constant reminder of the enigma that was humanity. Meanwhile, light years away, aboard the UNS Pathfinder, Captain Eva Rostova stared out at the swirling nebulae painting the viewport. The ship, a prototype exploration vessel equipped with experimental Alcubierre drive technology, was charting a course through uncharted space, a mission fraught with both immense potential and immeasurable risk. For months, they had been observing the Cathar, a species far more advanced than humanity in certain respects, yet seemingly baffled by aspects of human technology. Rostova felt a flicker of amusement. They saw only the surface, the outer shell of their capabilities. They didn't understand the core principles, the driving forces behind human innovation. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Chen's voice broke her reverie, "we've received another transmission from the Cathar. It's a formal invitation to a diplomatic exchange." Rostova turned, her expression unreadable. "An invitation, after months of ignoring our attempts at communication." "Yes, ma'am, it appears they've finally decided to acknowledge our existence." Chen paused, his brow furrowed. "But there's something off about the message. It's almost hesitant, as if they're unsure of how to proceed." Rostova nodded slowly. "I sense it too. They're playing a game, Chen, a game of cat and mouse. They're trying to assess us, to gauge our strengths and weaknesses, and they're doing it with a level of arrogance that borders on the comical." "What are your orders, Captain?" Rostova turned back to the viewport, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. "We accept the invitation, but we do it on our terms. We show them that humanity is not to be trifled with. We show them the power of human ingenuity, and we show them the true meaning of diplomacy." The Pathfinder shifted course, its Alcubierre drive humming with restrained power. It was time for humanity to unveil its true potential, to shatter the preconceived notions of the Cathar, and to forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy. Rostova knew that this meeting could be the dawn of a new era, an era of cooperation and understanding, or it could be the spark that ignited a galactic war. The stakes were impossibly high. And she, along with her crew, were the only ones standing between humanity and the unknown. The uncertainty was palpable, even though the ship's systems read green across the board. She wasn't nervous, but she was aware. Aware of the burden of responsibility on her shoulders, aware of the weight of history pressing down on her. Aboard the Cathar flagship, the Obsidian Shard, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. The arrival of the human vessel had been heralded by a cacophony of sensor readings, each more perplexing than the last. The ship's design was unorthodox, its energy signature was inconsistent, and its maneuverability was astonishing. Stratego's mandibles clicked in growing frustration. He felt like he was missing something crucial, some piece of information that would unlock the puzzle of humanity. The Grand Diplomat, however, was more optimistic. She believed that this exchange could be a bridge, a pathway to understanding. She had spent cycles studying human culture, analyzing their art, their literature, their history. She saw a species capable of great compassion and great cruelty, a species driven by both ambition and altruism. She believed that they were inherently unpredictable, but that unpredictability could be their greatest strength. As the Pathfinder docked with the Obsidian Shard, a contingent of Cathar warriors, clad in gleaming black armor, stood guard at the airlock. Their energy weapons were raised, their multifaceted eyes fixed on the entrance. The tension in the air was almost unbearable. Rostova emerged first, followed by Chen and two other members of her crew. She wore a simple, utilitarian uniform, her expression calm and composed. She exuded an aura of quiet confidence that was both disarming and intimidating. The Grand Diplomat stepped forward, her bioluminescent tendrils glowing with a soft, welcoming light. "Welcome, humans, to the Obsidian Shard. I am the Grand Diplomat. It is an honor to finally meet you." Rostova nodded curtly. "Captain Eva Rostova, UNS Pathfinder, the honor is ours." Her voice was clear and steady, carrying a subtle undercurrent of authority. The Grand Diplomat gestured towards the interior of the ship. "Please come with me. The conclave awaits." Rostova followed the Grand Diplomat, her eyes scanning the surroundings. The Obsidian Shard was a marvel of Cathar engineering, its corridors lined with intricate circuitry and humming with barely contained energy. She noted the presence of the warriors, their unwavering vigilance, their readiness to strike. She knew that she was walking into a trap, a carefully orchestrated test of her resolve. But she was prepared. The conclave awaited them in a vast chamber, its obsidian walls reflecting the cold, harsh light of the holographic projections. The members of the conclave were seated on a raised platform, their multifaceted eyes scrutinizing Rostova and her crew. The Grand Artificer stepped forward, his chitinous carapace gleaming menacingly. "Captain Rostova, we have been observing you for some time. We have studied your technology, your culture, your history. We have many questions." Rostova met his gaze without flinching. "Then ask them. I am here to answer." The Grand Artificer paused, his multifaceted eyes narrowing. "Your technology, it defies our understanding of physics. How is this possible?" Rostova smiled faintly. "We simply see the universe differently. We are not bound by your preconceived notions. We are not afraid to challenge the established order." The Stratego stepped forward, his mandibles clicking impatiently. "Your military capabilities are underwhelming. How do you expect to defend yourselves against threats far greater than your own?" Rostova's expression hardened. "We may be small, but we are resourceful, we are resilient, and we are not afraid to fight for what we believe in. We have faced extinction before, and we have survived. We will do whatever it takes to protect our people, our planet, and our future." The Grand Diplomat stepped forward, her bioluminescent tendrils glowing brightly. "We do not seek conflict, Captain Rostova. We seek understanding. We believe that cooperation is the key to a brighter future. We invite you to join us, to share your knowledge, your technology, your culture. Together, we can overcome any challenge." Rostova considered her words carefully. She knew that the Grand Diplomat was sincere, but she also knew that there were factions within the Cathar hegemony who would never accept humanity as an equal. She had to choose her words carefully to navigate the treacherous political landscape with precision and grace. "We are willing to cooperate," she said finally, "but we will not compromise our values. We will not surrender our independence. We will work with you, but we will do it on our terms." A murmur arose from the conclave. Rostova's words were both conciliatory and defiant. She was offering a hand in friendship, but she was also drawing a line in the sand. The Cathar were not accustomed to such audacity. The Grand Artificer considered her words, his multifaceted eyes flickering with uncertainty. He knew that Rostova was right. Humanity was not a threat to be conquered, but a force to be reckoned with. He also knew that the Cathar hegemony needed allies, especially in the face of the growing threat from the Outer Rim. "Very well, Captain Rostova," he said finally. "We accept your terms. Let us begin." The holographic projections shifted, displaying images of joint research projects, collaborative initiatives, and cultural exchange programs. The atmosphere in the chamber began to lighten, the tension slowly dissipating. Rostova had succeeded. She had earned the respect of the Cathar conclave, and she had opened the door to a new era of cooperation between humanity and the Cathar hegemony. But Rostova knew that this was just the beginning. The true test was yet to come. The threat from the Outer Rim was real, and it was growing stronger every day. She had to prepare humanity for the coming storm, to build alliances, to develop new technologies, and to strengthen their defenses. The fate of the galaxy depended on it. As the joint projects began to unfold, human scientists were granted access to some of the HAR's most closely guarded technological secrets. The humans, in turn, shared breakthroughs in quantum computing and materials science. Rostova watched as barriers began to break down. Mutual respect blossomed, leading to genuine friendship. But even as this unity took root, a troubling discovery was made. A deep space listening post, jointly operated by Cathar and human technicians, detected a faint but persistent signal emanating from the galactic void. It was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The signal was rhythmic, structured, and carried an immense amount of data. The Cathar linguists worked tirelessly to decipher the signal, but they were stumped. The language was unlike any they had ever encountered. Rostova, along with a team of human scientists, began to analyze the signal using advanced quantum algorithms. After weeks of relentless effort, they finally broke through. The signal was a message from a civilization far older and more advanced than anything they could have imagined. The message spoke of a great cosmic cycle, of civilizations rising and falling, of the inevitable heat-death of the universe. But it also spoke of a way to transcend that fate, a way to achieve immortality, a way to cheat death itself. The message contained the schematics for a device, a massive energy collector capable of harnessing the power of a black hole. The device, according to the message, could create a wormhole to another universe, a universe where the laws of physics were different, a universe where anything was possible. The implications of this discovery were staggering. If they could build this device, they could save their civilization from the inevitable doom. But the risks were immense. The device was incredibly complex, and the slightest mistake could trigger a catastrophic event. Furthermore, the message warned that the other universe was not empty. It was inhabited by beings of unimaginable power, beings who would not take kindly to intruders. Rostova knew that she had to make a decision. She could keep the discovery a secret, protect humanity from the risks, and let the universe take its course. Or she could take a gamble, embrace the unknown, and strive for immortality. The choice was hers, and the fate of humanity rested on her shoulders. She called a meeting of the Joint Cathar Human Council, a body composed of the most influential leaders of both civilizations. The atmosphere in the chamber was tense as Rostova presented her findings. The Cathar were skeptical, their logical minds struggling to grasp the implications of the message. The humans were divided, some eager to embrace the challenge, others fearful of the consequences. The Grand Artificer was the first to speak. "This is preposterous. Such a device is impossible. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical, and the risks are unacceptable." The strategos nodded in agreement. "We cannot afford to gamble our civilization on such a long shot. We must focus on strengthening our defenses, on preparing for the coming war. This is a distraction." But the Grand Diplomat saw things differently. "We cannot ignore this message," she said, her bioluminescent tendrils glowing brightly. "It offers us a chance to transcend our limitations, to achieve something truly extraordinary. We must explore this possibility, however remote it may seem." The debate raged for hours, each side presenting their arguments with passion and conviction. Rostova listened patiently, weighing the pros and cons. She knew that she had to make a decision that would unite both civilizations, a decision that would inspire hope and courage. Finally, she stood up, her expression resolute. "We will build the device," she announced, "but we will do it together. We will combine our knowledge, our technology, and our resources. We will share the risks and the rewards. We will face the unknown as one. Her words were met with a mixture of applause and apprehension, but Rostova knew that she had made the right decision. She had chosen hope over fear, unity over division. The construction of the device began immediately. It was a monumental undertaking, requiring the combined efforts of countless engineers, scientists, and technicians from both civilizations. The device was built in a remote region of space, far from any inhabited planets. It was a massive structure, dwarfing even the largest Cathar warships. As the device neared completion, Rostova felt a growing sense of anticipation. She knew that they were on the verge of something extraordinary. But she also knew that they were playing with fire. The universe was a dangerous place, and there were forces at work that they could barely comprehend. On the day the device was scheduled to be activated, Rostova stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, her gaze fixed on the massive structure looming before her. The Cathar flagship, the Obsidian Shard, stood beside them, its weapons systems fully charged. The members of the joint Cathar-Human Council were gathered on the bridge of the Pathfinder, their faces etched with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The Grand Artificer stepped forward, his chitinous carapace gleaming under the harsh light. "Are you ready, Captain Rostova?" Rostova nodded, her expression resolute. "Yes, let's do it." The Grand Artificer gave the order, and the device began to activate. Energy flowed through its intricate circuitry, building to a crescendo. The black hole at its center began to glow with an otherworldly light. A wormhole opened, a swirling vortex of colors that defied description. For a moment there was silence. Then a voice boomed through the chamber, a voice that resonated with unimaginable power. "Who dares to intrude upon our domain?" The members of the council gasped in horror. They had awakened something ancient and powerful, something that was not happy to see them. A colossal form began to emerge from the wormhole, a being of pure energy that dwarfed even the device itself. Its eyes glowed with malevolent intent, and its voice echoed with the weight of eons. "You have trespassed upon sacred ground," it boomed. "Now you will pay the price." The creature unleashed a wave of energy that slammed into the Pathfinder and the Obsidian Shard, shaking them violently. The ship's shields flickered and strained, struggling to contain the immense power. Rostova knew that they were outmatched. They had awakened something far beyond their comprehension. "All ships open fire," she ordered. "We have to buy time." The Cathar and human warships unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, but the creature was unfazed. It swatted away the blasts as if they were mere insects. The creature began to advance, its massive form blotting out the stars. Rostova knew that they were doomed. They had reached too far, and now they were going to pay the ultimate price. Suddenly, a signal came through, originating from the device itself. It was the same signal they had intercepted months ago, the message from the ancient civilization. But this time it was different. It was a warning. "You have awakened the Guardian," the message said. "It is the protector of the universe. It will destroy anything that threatens the balance, but there is one way to appease it. You must offer it a gift, something of great value, something that represents your civilization's highest achievements." Rostova realized what she had to do. She turned to the Grand Artificer. "We have to give it something," she said, "something that shows our worth." The Grand Artificer nodded slowly. "What do you suggest?" Rostova thought for a moment. "We give it the device itself," she said. "It's the culmination of our knowledge, our technology, our hopes for the future. It's the greatest gift we can offer." The Grand Artificer hesitated. But that's impossible. We can't just give it away. It represents everything we've worked for." "It's our only chance," Rostova insisted. "If we don't, we're all going to die." The Grand Artificer considered her words. He knew that she was right. He gave the order, and the device began to power down. The energy collector reversed its polarity, channeling the energy of the black hole back into itself. The wormhole began to shrink, and the creature paused, its malevolent gaze fixed on the device. As the device reached its critical point, it emitted a final pulse of energy, a wave of pure information that washed over the creature. The creature stood motionless for a moment, as if processing the data. Then its expression softened. The malevolent intent faded from its eyes, replaced by a look of understanding. "You are worthy," it boomed. "You have proven your potential. I will leave you in peace." The creature turned and stepped back into the wormhole, which then collapsed, disappearing without a trace. Silence descended upon the battlefield. The Pathfinder and the Obsidian Shard hung in the void, their shields flickering weakly. The members of the council stared in disbelief. They had survived. They had faced the ultimate test, and they had passed. Rostova let out a sigh of relief. She had made the right decision. She had trusted her instincts and she had saved her civilization. But she knew that this was not the end. It was just the beginning. They had opened a door to the unknown and they had no idea what lay beyond. But they were ready. They had faced their fears and they had emerged stronger. They had learned the true meaning of unity and they were prepared to face whatever the future held together. As the ships limped back to their respective territories, Rostova reflected on the moment humans unveiled their true, until then, military power. It wasn't a power of weapons or ships, but the power to unite, to adapt, and to choose wisdom over strength. This revelation, witnessed by the Cathar and validated by a cosmic guardian, heralded a new era for humanity, not as conquerors, but as custodians of a fragile universe.